What is going on, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, Pop Punk Dad Podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris, 183 Steve. We are back once again with another episode, and we're back again with another You Pick 'em June. I love this month. I love that you guys out there picked them, and we didn't have to pick them because you picked some good ones. I'll say that much. And Steve's going to talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But for today, we're going to talk about an album that you guys chose, you guys picked. And listen, this was the long-awaited second album from the band I Am the Avalanche. 2011, I think, was the year, Steve. Isn't that crazy? But the album title was Avalanche United. I totally missed this one. We're going to talk about it, and I'm sure that you guys have opinions too. But Steve, we're going to do another You Pick 'em June. What do you think about that?
It's great. It's great. I like it when people tell us what we should listen to, and then we tell them if we liked it or didn't like it. And ultimately, this is what the peoples out there want to hear, right? Because they picked it, not us. We have a couple of guests on this show. Typically for You Pick 'em June, we invite the guest who recommended this album in the first place, and that person is Dave, our one of our High School Never Ends Jeopardy champions and friend of the show. Dave, it is great to have you back. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, wanting to talk about this album. So glad to be here to get to say a few words about it.
We are going to ask you why you recommended this in the first place, but we have one other guest. He texted me and said, if Avalanche United gets picked and you don't have me on this episode, I am going to fucking kill you. So out of fear for my life, and because Dave was like, yeah, that's all good, and Chris was like, that's all good, we have friend of the show, Port Maria 50%, a co-conspirator. His name is Steve Kelly. Sinking Ship Records, all the things. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hi, guys. It's great to be back here.
Thank you for the threat of my life.
I didn't know that I got here on threats alone, but I thought that by joining Patreon, it was kind of like the end of The Wedding Singer, where Billy Idol gets up and he's like, because we let our first-class customers do pretty much whatever they want, like, here I am.
Well, thank you for that beautiful segue into our Patreon shout-outs. That's perfect. Thank you to one of our newest Patreon members, Steve Kelly. We also have Steve C., Dr. Bernie, Chris P., Punkish Dad's friend, Punkish Dad, Punk Rock Mom, Jeff, Tom, Ashley, Jason, Sam, Chris W., and Nick. If you guys want to look into subscribing there and get to do whatever the hell you want on the flight, go to patreon.com/HSNEpod. So now that is out of the way, Chris, let's start with you. Avalanche, I Am the Avalanche. Avalanche United, I Am the Avalanche. I know you know Vinny Caruano, but did you ever get into this band?
You're not going to make the Avril Lavigne joke. Are we just going to not do that?
Well, let's let it come up naturally, or you can do it. Go ahead.
It's too late. I already forced it. I just forced it. I just forced it right into the show.
Now you have to fold, or you have to double down.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about it later. And that's a really deep cut that no one knows what the hell I'm talking about anyway. But hey, look, yes, I've heard of I Am the Avalanche, of course, but I am a man now. Earlier, a kid who did not listen to this album at all in 2011, and I wasted a lot of time in my life. I do realize that right now, because
you wasted a lot of time not listening to it.
I've wasted a lot of time because I could have been listening to this album. I have a lot of good things to say about this one. I'll just give it away. I thought that I didn't know what to think. I know that there were a ton of people that really like this band. I know that even specifically Steve Kelly, you've talked about this band before at length. I know that I am a fan of the movie Life. So I don't know why it didn't come together. But for this particular show, I listened to this album and it all came together. So I'm not sure exactly what it was. It was a mixture of just first of all, this one, can I go into it a little bit further, or you just want like high level? Yeah. So it grew on me, and I'll tell you what, like the first time through, I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. The second time I'm like, damn, like this is really good. And then the third time through, I feel like I'm adding this to basically every playlist I have. Like it it grew on me fast. There's so many good things to look about this. The melodies are undeniable. The lyrical delivery is probably what some would say right up my alley with that raspy sounding delivery. He is all over the place in a great way when it comes to octave and delivery, up and down. So much energy in that. And I'll tell you what, like some of the guitar work on this album is just so top notch and creative that it keeps your interest from top to bottom. So I'm not going to say that every song was amazing, like 10 out of 10, but man, there's a lot of good ones on here.
Dude,
So
I like that overview. I'm glad that you dug this. Let's scoot over to Dave, and the question becomes, out of all the albums, and I don't know if you recommended more than one, but with You Pick 'em June, anybody who tunes into our Instagram can recommend any album, and then it goes through a vigorous voting process, and we'll talk about the voting process in just a second. But it started with you recommending this one. So out of the albums out there that we haven't spoke about on the show, what made you say you guys need to listen to this one and do this one?
Well, this has been since it's come out, which it feels weird to say that it's been 15 years, because it still feels new to me, because it was, at the time the new album after a long break for the band. But no, it's been a favorite of mine since I first put it in my CD player. If that's any indication of when this came out and how long ago that was. Probably one of the last actual physical CDs I bought. It's been a favorite of mine the whole time. And a couple years back when we talked about doing a series with bands after they left Drive Thru Records, this was one of the albums that I pushed in there for consideration. And I think it was maybe the only one that didn't make the cut of however many episodes there were in that series with Starting Line. And I came on and that's when I was on last for the RX Bandits Battle Begun episode.
Do we call that Drive Thru Records Aftermath? Drive Thru Aftermath?
The Aftermath. Yeah, I was like, it had a great name, right on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, the Aftermath. And this was one that I would have loved to have had in there. And when I saw the You Pick 'em come up, I think that was the first one that I fired off. And there is another one. I won't do a spoiler, but there's another one in the series that was in my recommendations list that I believe won its poll to be in this month as well.
No spoilers allowed. All right. Before I talk about the voting and how we got here, Steve Kelly, what is it about I'm the Avalanche and this album that brought you to Threats of Violence, and why are you so passionate?
I was a huge Movie Life fan, and I think like when they broke up, I was really disappointed because I felt like 40 Hour Train was like a masterpiece album. Sucked when they broke up, and then they released the self-titled I Am the Avalanche record, which was like awesome, a great record, really really cool. Maybe a little like plodding and slow, and didn't have like and then nothing for a really long time, and I think we'll
6
probably
years
talk about that. Yeah, but I felt pretty starved for like new stuff from Vinny, and then this record came out, and it was like a fully realized version of what I Am the Avalanche could be, a post Movie Life project from Vinny. And yeah, dude, I mean, these songs rip. I know we're gonna dig into this. We're all giving away like opinions of it. But obviously, I think
let it come out natural.
We're
all
all
right.
passionate about it, or at least Dave and I feel a certain way about it, right?
Chris sounds like he's on board too.
Yeah. So, this album was like, after a long walk through the desert, boom, hit a oasis.
It's a champagne supernova in the sky. Well, that just kind of leaves me to talk a little bit about I Am the Avalanche. And I don't really have all that much to say. So here's the deal. I feel like I'm a little bit different than Steve and Dave, closer to Chris, right? So I was a fan of the Movie Life, saw them a handful of times. Everybody who has ever listened to the show knows that I skew a little more towards the bubblegummy pop punk than I do the harder chordy pop punk. I'm making up words. That's okay. However, that does not mean that I don't like it. Don't like hardcore stuff or faster stuff or stuff that skews a little. I mean, this album does skew a little more towards the punk, like punk, and we'll talk about that. So I would say I was kind of a medium fan of the Movie Life. I've seen them a handful of times. We saw them recently. I think it was in New Jersey. Definitely saw them recently somewhere. And so, you know, I'm a fan of Vinny. I think that he's got a great voice. I enjoy everything he does, but I also never really, I don't know. Nobody stuck on the Avalanche in front of me when the self-titled album came out in 2005, which is kind of surprising because it was on Drive Thru Records. But I can blame you, Steve. We were friends in 2005. You didn't make me listen to it. So it was just kind of under it was just kind of under my radar. So don't really know too much. Don't have too much history with them as this band. I think I've also seen Vinny do an acoustic set. So he played some songs from, you know, multiple different bands and projects of his. I will say this exercise of listening to this album for the show was my first way through it. Does it skew a little bit more on the punky side than I'm used to putting on? Yes, it does. But that doesn't mean there aren't a shitload of awesome songs on here and good things to say. Chris mentioned the voice. We'll talk about the voice. We'll talk about some of the lyrics. We'll talk about all of it. And I will shut up in a minute, but I do want to just talk about how exactly we got here. The way You Pick 'em June works is that everybody nominated records for us to send out there to the world for a vote. Our Patreons, special shout out to them. Each Patreon got to move one album to the second round if they so wanted to. So this one did get an automatic vote to round 2, right? I believe that was thanks to you, Steve. It's in my recollection. And in round 2, it went up against a gauntlet. Okay, last week we did the Boxcar Racer album, which won in a landslide. This was not a landslide. This was going against 4 Year Strong, Enemy of the World, Glassjaw, Worship and Tribute, which also had a great first round. There was I Am the Avalanche, and then there was Less Than Jake, Silver Linings. So we had, you know, that's quite a bunch of different things, but people were quite interested and eclectic in this vote. In fact, I Am the Avalanche won this vote with 30%. Less Than Jake, Silver Linings was at 28%. It won by 2 votes. And 4 Year Strong was only at 25%. Glassjaw got 17%. So all this numbers just to say that I Am the Avalanche won this one out, but everybody else did vote for some of the other ones too. So it squeaked it out. It wasn't a runaway. But for those 30% of you that voted for this, and anybody who likes I Am the Avalanche, then this is your time.
Steve, I would really like you to go back and listen to Worship and Tribute, though. Seems right up your alley.
Well, you probably didn't vote for it, so you know maybe next June we'll see.
I couldn't.
I'm a little busy till next June. Chris, did I miss anything in this little intro here? What do you think?
No, but I'm thinking we should take all the winners and then do a poll with the 4 winners or 5 or however many, and then see who likes the best one out of that, and then do another show of that song, of that album.
Wouldn't we have already done it, though?
Yeah, but that would be a special version of it.
Just do the same thing again. A deeper dive. We're going to go through lyric by lyric, word by word, and we're going to take out the liner notes and we're going to read them. That'll be killer content.
We'll become a different podcast where we go over one line of song per episode.
Wow. You know, there are no bad ideas, so let's pocket that and let's put that in the good idea pile for moving forward. So I Am the Avalanche. Avalanche United, it came out October 11th, 2011. We mentioned it's their second album on I Surrender Records. It was produced by Brett Romness, who is also their drummer. Guys, he was in another band as well, right? He's a band dude. Do we know this?
No. I
only know him from I Am the Avalanche, and I know he produces a ton of stuff now.
Okay.
And he plays, he's essentially the de facto drummer for the Movie Life at this point, but wasn't the original drummer from before the breakup.
Got it. Okay. The band went on to release 5 albums total, 3 more after this, and I'm just talking about full-length albums. So they had I Am the Avalanche in 2005, Avalanche United in 2011, Wolverines in 2014, Drive in 2020, and just released the Horror Show 2026. We did a quick Patreon episode where we went through the music video for, I forget the name of the song. It was something about California and I Miss My Dog.
I Miss California and Every Dog I've Ever met.
that was a fantastic song. And really that and the movie life is all the prerequisite that I had for listening to this. So this is different than that. I'm curious. I gotta give that new one a full length listen and see which way it goes here. But Chris, anything else before we get into this album track by track?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. Let's get into it.
Yeah, guys. Any other like generalities? Or are you ready to go?
I was just going to say, up until about a month and a half, 2 months ago, the album we're talking about today, Avalanche United, was, in my opinion, the best I Am the Avalanche album. But the Horror Show, I can't imagine anything else this year that's going to beat it out for album of the year. And it's just such a great album, and it's become my overall favorite Avalanche album.
Does it skew more towards the sound of this record, or does it skew more towards the sound of that single that we listened to?
I'd say more to the single than this album, but it is fairly eclectic in the sound, gets pretty hard at certain points, but doesn't have as much of the, I guess, maybe driving like punk, like just straight in your face punk rock sound, I guess. So a little bit of the vibe from the first album in some parts with the tempos, but some of the kind of like emotional roller coaster of this album and the one that came out after this, Wolverine. But yeah, it's a little bit all over the place, but just, yeah, like you could tell that the band as a whole, Brett as a producer, everybody is just like so in tune with what a great I Am the Avalanche album needs to be. And they just brought it all to the table and made it happen.
Did you have a different opinion, Steve? I wasn't sure. You kind of shook your head a little bit up.
I do think like new album, that song, I Miss California and Every Dog I've Ever Met, feels kind of singular on it. Like that is an amazing song. The rest of the album it's pretty hard. I would love to hear what the two of you think. I think Chris will dig it quite a bit. Steve, I don't know.
Well, maybe we can use this album and my responses as a barometer.
Dude, the other thing I kind of wanted to set the table with on this one is like, so there was that 5-year gap between their first album coming out and this one coming out. And they were kind of like left for dead on Drive-Thru Records at the time. So they were held up in, I think, like Drive-Thru had their contract. They kind of reached a standoff and wouldn't release this.
Was Drive-Thru not all but kind of dissolved at this point? I mean, they
kind of were.
But I guess there are still some sort of contracts in place, right?
But contractually, I think that they could not release this album the way they wanted it to. So it took 5 years for them to get out of that deal to release this album. And I remember in probably like 2008, some of the demos for this album started to surface online. And I remember hearing like Brooklyn Dodgers, Amsterdam, You've Got Spiders, Is This Really Happening? Like really rough versions of them surfaced and kind of went around, but then you heard nothing for years from them. I was living in New York City and they were playing like house shows. They weren't really touring anymore. They were all working and living in New York City, and I got to see them in like Brooklyn at somebody's house where they were selling PBRs for like out of a box of PBRs you'd pay cash, and it was cool. It was kind of cool that they went back to their like roots on this stuff, and we're still a band, but it was also really frustrating. It felt like they could not release music at that time. It was really weird.
It's got to be frustrating for the band and for the fans.
Okay, so we really do think though that's why the long hiatus, that was the biggest part of it, is the contracts in the situation. Otherwise, this album would have come out a lot sooner. Do we really feel like that's the case?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve worked for Sony. He was working at Sony Records for a while, so he's got a little insight into, no, you don't have insight into record label nonsense?
I remember talking to Vinny on a roof in Brooklyn about this a little bit.
Okay, so you've got some firsthand knowledge. I get it.
Yeah, so number 2 is how many PBRs? Was there a limit on how many PBRs you could buy out of that box, or could you have as many as you like?
I think they were willing to let you pay for as many as you would buy. They were stocked. This was like going to a college party, except I was in my early 20s, and it was great.
If
You
I
didn't
would have
get that
went there
kind of
and said,
deal in New York City.
I'll just take that whole box. Here's a 20. Would that have worked?
Chris, I think it could have. This is a wonderful time in New York that is no longer a thing.
And then my third question is, how would you even know what house this was at? But I think the question was answered, that you had a connection with Vinny and you knew the guy.
No, I think it was like
no?
they would post it on their Facebook page, or I don't know if I don't know if this was like, I think this was post MySpace, but I do think this was like, we're posting on our Facebook group, like, here is an event, come to this event.
But it's somebody's house though. Like, that's, how many randos do you want showing up to your house?
What I can tell you is that these were all like kids in their 20s putting on shows, and they seemed to be loving it.
All right. Well, hey, it's risky, but apparently it paid off.
No fucks given.
So good for them.
How cool would it be if you're like 24 years old and somehow you'd be like, hey, Vinny Caruana is going to play at my house. Like, you're probably renting, so you don't really give a fuck if the house gets destroyed. Like, let's go. It's like that Project X kind of thing.
Should we do that, Steve? Like, should we have a band play at our house, one of our houses?
Yeah, the problem is that we're old and we have kids, and like if our houses got like completely destroyed, it would be a little bit more devastating to our lives. But we can go to your house. You have a pool.
Who would show up?
You'd be surprised. You have a pool. I think we should do this in Pittsburgh.
We would show up, Chris.
We'd have to keep the party outside, though. We couldn't go inside.
Get porta johns.
Yeah, porta potties.
No, you just go over the side because it's a hill like off the deck, so you just go over the side.
There you go.
The ladies will love that. All right, let's get into. Oh, they're not invited.
They can't go over the side.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's tough. All right, Chris. Let's get into this record. I'll let you kind of steer the ship on who's going. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's only right. We'll give the honors to Dave. He picked him. He picked him June. So Dave, why don't you kick us off with the non-titular track? It's not titular at all. It's actually called "Holy Fuck." Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think if you've not come out with an album for going on over 6 years, you're gonna want your first song to come in in a big way with a big title like that. Yeah, "Holy Fuck" is, to me, it sounds like what the beginning of an I Am the Avalanche show sounds like. You hear a little bit of the feedback and the sound coming out of the speaker, and then just launches right into it, the big drums and the screaming check check. It's just, you feel like you're at the show, and yeah, I think it's a great song. I think it's kind of like catches you up on everything. I'm alone for the first time in 5 years. Kind of sets the table that this is going to be a big album with a lot of relationship themes in there, in a not very pleasant way, but also kind of a little bit of a nod to coming out on the other side better than you were going into it, I guess, or being in a good place with yourself.
Cool. Steve Kelly, why don't you go next?
Oh, dude, this is such a ripper. Dave, I agree with everything you said. This is like, if you have been dormant for such a long time, this just kicks you in the face. And I mean, the song rips, but then that last verse where he just goes full unhinged is awesome. And then it does that like da 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 into the final chorus, and I don't know. This is just like a very good I'm in, I'm out track. Really sets the stage for the whole album.
Yeah, I'll go next, and then Steve, you can wrap us up on this first one. So you guys, I love that unhinged line, by the way, because I tried to write that and I couldn't think of it. That's perfect. But just right from the get-go, like you said, this one does rip. It has tons of energy. The intro line is amazing in this song, and it just keeps getting better. it's got that bouncy, fun melody to it with that old school punk feel. So you mix those two together with those raspy vocals that I just love. Like that's man, there's some bands that have that lead singer, and the fact that they can pull all this off in one nice big mixture and have it sound the way it does, just puts a seal of approval on this right away. This song was one of the ones that didn't necessarily grow on me. It was great to begin with. This is what I call an amazing intro track to any album. It immediately got my attention. It wanted me to gave me the reason to want to listen to more. And also, by the way, this song has a great outro. I said outro. It's towards the end of the song. That's where you were talking about the higher pitch, the unhinged approach with the vocal stylings, but I said higher pitched lyrical style. Same thing. It's just an excellent song, and it gets better and better every time you listen to it. Steve.
Yeah, again, my first kind of introduction to listening to this band in a full record, and first thing is, it definitely has a real punk vibe to it. Vinny's voice sounds a little extra gravelly, I feel like, on this album, like compared to the movie Life. But they add in like all the whoa-oh-ohs. It's not like the catchy pop punk that I usually gravitate towards, but like this has like a solid pre-chorus and a catchy chorus that even somebody that's not like super into faster punky stuff, like I was able to enjoy this a whole lot. And I said the same thing that you guys said in a different way. The bridge to the end of the song is just incredibly powerful. Vinny goes to a completely different level towards the end of this song. So however you want to absorb that, I felt the same way. So holy fuck, yes.
Does this count as a tasteful fuck, or is this overt?
I would say this is more of an egregious fuck than a tasteful fuck. Thank you for calling back to my idiosyncrasies of episodes past. I think this one is a little bit more overt.
Fair enough.
Tasteful to me, though.
Well, we got Brooklyn Dodgers up next, and why don't we hand it off to one of the Steves? You guys flip a coin.
I'll take this one. I'll just piggyback myself here. Listen, I grew up in New York. Gotta say, I love songs about New York. Guys, when I was listening to a lot of the album, but then specifically the song, like I get very like Tired Radio vibes. And obviously that's, 10, 12 years later, 15 years later. But I mean, it's kind of that real, again, gravelly, raspy voice, being kind of, self-deprecating and talking about the place where you are and the things that you're looking at and what's around you and what used to be there. Really enjoy the chorus in this one. The drums are really, really strong. Drums stood out here to me. It kind of just seems like he's telling a story, honestly. It's not even, he's singing a song, but this just kind of tells it seems like he's telling a story. He's talking about, the Brooklyn Dodgers and what happened in New York, and seems like a family discussion. You get some hardcore kind of guitar chugging, just kind of peeking in there at the end. So that was cool, a little different vibe to the song. But I really enjoyed Brooklyn Dodgers. Pass to you, Steve. Go ahead.
Dude, a lot of the same notes. So I said, living in the New York City area when this came out, I did feel kind of like a sense of belonging and like all New Yorkers, you're not really from there, most of us. But I felt like in listening to the song that I was, and I felt like, I connect with this. And verse 2 about Vinny's dad, I think I really like the way that made its way into the song, and he kind of told that story. It doesn't fit like lyrical convention. He's not trying to rhyme. It's a good story in that song. And, I feel like this was a good example of like a band putting one of their strongest tunes on the album, like in the on deck spot. And that I think this is definitely one of the stronger songs on the album, and they hit you with it pretty early on. Yeah.
Steve, you've been on the show about 75 times, so you know what we're going to do at the end. So don't give anything away just yet.
Okay.
Thank you. Dave?
Hey, so You guys, yeah, I mean, look, I'm just going to jump in. Excellent guitars. I think that stuck out to me from the get-go. It gives a really great vibe. This is, I think, an amazing song in that second spot. It really follows up the Holy Fuck well, especially that initial riff during the verse. You can't really sing it or tell you, but if you listen to the first verse, there's this guitar riff that really stuck out to me as very interesting and just something that that stood out as I said at the beginning. Like they do some really creative stuff here with the guitar, and that's one good example of it. The whatever happened to the New York gentleman line, and then his dad, replies. I think you're right, Steve, that you guys both talked about it, but sounded like he maybe something him and his dad really came back and said one time. And there were things like that growing up that I remember that, my dad or grandfather would say, that potentially I could write into a song. I just thought that was pretty charming to be able to fit that into this one. Son, you're looking at one. I'm not from New York, but I get it.
But there is a generation of people that are still around that do remember the Brooklyn Dodgers. So
Sure. I remember, but I know who they are. I'm not that old. You probably think I am.
well, no, you don't remember them playing. You're not that old. Yes.
Yeah.
They were in
Yeah, the
Los
Brooklyn
Angeles by that point.
Nets. I know the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
homegrown Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah,
This song, and this is the other thing I'll say is that the song really flows, and I love the peak of it too. That's one of probably look. I always say, like, I love when a song kind of builds to something. This does that, and then it finishes pretty strong too. So definitely another standout here with Brooklyn Dodgers. And then Dave, you can kind of wrap us up on this one.
yeah, I don't. I guess I can't speak to the full extent of it, but I think what you guys are getting at, it's partially like a maybe a verbatim like conversation that they had about the Brooklyn Dodgers, but I think there's also like a metaphorical, like, like days of the old, how New York used to be, kind of a like underlying like sentiment in there as well. But yeah, no, as for the song, I mean, I think Mr. Steve Kelly was talking about how the tracking of it and being in the number two spot was huge. And I think I know the first time I saw them play this was maybe one of the last shows I saw when I lived in Los Angeles. Back it was in 2008, so they're a couple years removed from their first album at that time, still touring, let's say sporadically at that point, and they were playing Brooklyn Dodgers, I guess, pretty regularly at that point, enough where I think people in the crowd even started to know it. And I think by the time Avalanche United came out, it was like the set closing song. So I think it was already, in their world, I think it was already a hit essentially when the album came out preemptively. So I think having it early in the album was critical. And I think the way that it goes right into it and then transitions out of it into the next song on both sides of it, I think it plays perfectly, exactly where it needs to be on the album.
Sure.
Let's go
What did
into
New York used to be?
yeah.
By the way, before we can move on, what did New York used to be? You said that. Are we talking the 60s or are we talking like 1984?
I feel like everybody has this version of New York City. Like, I will have this someday where it's like, it used to be the way it was when I was in my 20s, and it's never that way anymore. But I like, the version of his dad's New York, or the version of that he's kind of like calling back to. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Steve's New York is getting PBRs for $2.
Yeah, everyone probably like has a fantasy of their dad's version of New York that they never got to experience, but they can only imagine based on what New York was when they were, coming of age, and then what it is as you get older. So I think it's just one of those generational things.
It's a young man's game.
My New York was Century 3 Mall in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, because it was the biggest mall that ever was built, ever.
Chris, I'm not going to tell you that's sad, but
It was a nice mall, and a really nice mall.
You're in an area recording
Yeah,
tonight where it's one of the largest malls in the country, just so you know, if you want to take a shopping trip.
I'm going to do the research. I think Century 3 might have been bigger than King of Prussia, but we'll see.
I looked
know.
up what the biggest malls in America are, at least today, not back in the day.
Yeah, C3 is torn down. Unfortunately, it's gone.
All right, well, maybe not there, but Amsterdam, perhaps. Steve, you want to kick off Amsterdam?
I very much do.
This
is one of. It's a great song. Okay, so I first heard this song from the OG batch of demos that came out, and I loved it. This one inspired me to write. I used to blog back in the day, dailyriffage.com, and I did a blog post about I Am the Avalanche and posted the song because this is one of the catchiest songs on the album. When I moved to New York, one of my friends I met and played in a band with was Mike Saffert, who used to be in Hidden in Plain View, and he told me that this was about their tour. This song in particular is about I Am the Avalanche and Hidden in Plain View touring Amsterdam, running around being idiots and playing with street cones and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, I just, this song rules. This is such a good chorus, and I put it on too many mixes. Pretty enthusiastic about this particular song. I wrote the bridge with the little dancing hi-hat part. I think it's maybe my favorite part of the song. Just really charming. Dave, take it from here.
What I love about this song that I don't know if I until I was re-listening to it for this, I don't know if I ever appreciated the fact that there's I don't know if you would say that there's two bridges, or if there's maybe one's a post chorus or but there's two distinct parts of the song that happen between the second to last two choruses that come in that only happen the one time in the song, and they're both great, but yeah, it's weird to think about from a traditional songwriting sense or whatever, but I think when you see them play this live, it's for the better, because it's that kind of a slowdown moment in the middle of the song or in the bridge that lets you catch your breath before it just picks it back up to that same super fast tempo in that last chorus. And for some reason I thought Amsterdam and the parking cone reference was in reference to how they have the big pre-rolled joints that look like a cone. I thought it was a little bit of a nod to that, but I guess in any sense of it, I think there was some amount of debauchery in Amsterdam that led to the writing of the song.
There usually is.
Go ahead, wingman.
Yeah, man, I had a good time in Amsterdam, and I went there once for a few days, and I had a good time. Minimal debauchery, a little bit. You go to the coffee shop or whatever, but this song just fucking rips right from the start. This song fucking rips, and it's a heartfelt reminiscence of his time in this foreign land that is, often talked about because it's different, because there's things that are okay there that are not okay here, and he doesn't really get into the details of it, but that's kind of the allure of the song. I called out that there was this rock out kind of bridge section with a really cool guitar solo. So however closely we want to Krista makes and dissect it, it sounded really cool. It was a cool part of the song. And I thought it ripped. If we're talking baseball, you got your leadoff, you got your number two, and then number three is really kind of the cog that moves the machine, because they can drive in runs, they score runs, and this is usually the spot in an album traditionally that has the biggest song. So I don't disagree that this belongs where it is, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. There was something you said that I wanted to comment on, and I forgot what it was. Damn.
Debauchery.
No, you
Dave,
know what
now
actually is interesting is, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Dave, now I can't stop thinking like parking cone absolutely has to be a reference to it, like a giant
Well,
joint.
and like Mr. Wingman said, I did have I think it was one night in Amsterdam, probably not too long before this album came out, actually, which I think was why I had a really quick connection to this song because I'd been in Amsterdam just months before the parking cone and the other, and yeah, just like stumbling through the streets, when you're in a good headspace. Just it
Statute of
feels
limitations has
feels
expired.
weird.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean it was a good night, and it was funny because I'd spent I think it was like the day before and that day in Amsterdam with my dad because I was on a solo trip in Europe at the time and he was over there for work, and I think it lined up on the weekend that he was able to essentially sneak out of France to come to hang out with me in Amsterdam for a day, and then the night that he left, or at the day after he left, that's the night that I went out and did some exploring.
I was
So
wondering if this was going to turn into a story about like you and your dad really turning up in Amsterdam
no,
together.
no, no. We had a good time drinking some cool Dutch beers, and then I did some of the other exploring after he had left.
I can't top any. I've never been anywhere at all.
It's time to
King of
go.
Prussia.
No, it was what I was going to say is that my daughter just went to Europe, and she said the number one thing they told her, and she went to the Czech Republic, that people over there, like, they kind of get kind of annoyed with loud American people that want to be too loud. So I could just imagine this band running through the streets of Amsterdam, probably not being so quiet, throwing street cones everywhere, and doing things that now again, maybe Amsterdam's different. Maybe it's different than Prague. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Don't throw bikes in the river.
Kind of makes me think
Steve,
about
you've never
the Matches song "Yankees at a Chip Shop."
There you go.
Yep.
eh,
Can I read a quote as I was looking stuff up to dive as deep as I could before this episode. I found an old interview with Vinny, and he has a mention of this song that I thought is kind of funny. It says, "I don't party like that anymore. I barely did, but yeah, Amsterdam is a celebratory song about a wild night. I'm glad that I chose not to write in the lyrics about throwing up blood, and I think one of my friends is going to die." And then I'm going to die and I'm on mushrooms. It's got a much more positive spin for sure. But I think the way that the song turns out might be a more mellow version of the real
Really
life
thing.
scenario.
Yeah, I love the stories. I'll keep mine brief. Really, just looking at the song, all the stuff you guys said about the melody, I feel it too. But I really just want to call out the bridge. I thought it was really just the standout part of the song. To me, it just has an amazing sound. The especially the "Your streets are heartbeats for you." Like, I love that line and the way that they sing it. I could listen to that part over and over again. And I also talked about, the vocal octave fluctuation throughout the album. This is one song where he goes up and down. It's that energy, and then it's regular, and I really enjoy that with the way that Vinny sings this song. So you guys answered all my questions about the Park and Cone and why Amsterdam. So I really have nothing else to say about this one except for it was a good track, great track.
So keep it rolling.
Maybe I will. So When I Come Around is the next one, and this,
Pause.
I didn't want to make a joke there. It just came out. It's not even that funny. I'll Be Back Around is the name of the song. So, but I will say that, if we're drawing comparisons, I feel like it has listened to it, it opens like a Yellow Card song, and it has nothing to do with like any of the guitar but the beat. I don't know what it is, like, and I forget which song it is, but I have to go back and listen to it again and see if I can remember exactly what it is that's jogging my memory. But it's only for the first couple, like maybe 5 or so seconds I hear that, when it gets into the actual song of I'll Be Back Around, um, so there's a couple things with this. Like, I think the pros and cons on this one. The con is I think it kind of has a slower start to the song. Like, I couldn't get as into it as maybe some of the previous three from the beginning. But the pros are I love, love, love the chorus structure in this one, especially like again, the more high energy lines that are delivered. He just kills it. Vinny just kills it with this one in terms of that. So I think that once you get into the chorus and then into the latter part of the song, which ultimately is just an extended version of the chorus, so it's a shorter song, I believe. It really picks up and it sounds great. So three-quarters of the song into, I don't know, like I'll probably get into that first section maybe the more and more I listen to it, but that was, after a couple listens, that was my initial take. And I think this is, I don't know if this is one of the standouts or the singles or anything, but I could be wrong. Interested in what you guys have to say, though. How about you go second, Wingman, this time?
Yeah, I can keep this kind of brief. Like, I feel like the guitar line drives this entire song. Vinny's vocals were really powerful, but I didn't find a hook in this one that reeled me in, that makes me want to like keep listening to the song over and over or put it in a playlist or whatever it is. Kind of like I have so far with the previous three, there was something. This one didn't really get me as hard. So we'll now go over to the experts there. Dave.
Yeah, and I think as a callback to what you said, Chris, about the intro sounding like a Yellow Card song, I'm wondering if you're thinking of the intro to "Breathing" by Yellow Card. I feel like has a similar, like I guess, like kind of like quick guitar riff that changes into something heavier. But no,
listen to it.
I love the song. I feel like it is a shorter one. I feel like it's short. It gets to the point. It packs a punch. There's not like lyrically, there's not a lot of lyrics, but I feel like it says a lot with what it has, and just like the repetition of the chorus. And like the part where he comes back around, and he said where he screams, "Believe me," and kind of repeats it. I feel like that part, it's just really lays on and turns up that like to me it's like one of the most like emotional songs in the album. And like when he's like the way that he's screaming it and what he's saying when he screams it, I feel like is what drives that home, even though it's not, he's not saying a lot. He's getting the point across really well.
I like the drum beat in the verses for this. It's kind of jittery. I feel like this is kind of like a meat and potatoes I Am the Avalanche song. I kind of agree with most of Steve what you were saying about this one, where it's like it's good. Or Chris, one of you. It's maybe a skippable track for me though.
All right. Well, we'll move on then to Is This Really Happening? And I'll kick this one off. I would say, deeming a track a skippable track is that's harsh words. However, this one, I kind of agree. Like I said, the last one, it didn't really hook me, but this one got me back 100%. I love the vocal cadence here. I like the chorus. I felt like the song had a little bit kind of a lighter sound to it in some ways. A lot of it sounded to me like it could be a Sum 41 song. And overall, I thought it was very strong. And after one that I wasn't so thrilled with, I think this one pulled me right back in. Chris?
Okay. And by the way, I love the way we're passing it. That makes things so much easier when we do that. Let's continue to do that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Off the cuff.
So is it really happening? Yeah. So this is instantly just a really likable high tempo melody with that edge that this band provides. So once again, like, just I was instantly just into this one as a result of that. I love songs that have a likable melody with an edge. It's just my thing. So the chorus itself is very catchy and repeatable. It's the storytelling in the verses. That's really, I guess, my standout here is I could listen to this verse probably more times than the chorus. I really enjoy the verse of the song and the music behind it. It I don't know, this song like makes me think of my favorite time of year when winter's being kind of ending and we're getting into spring and summer. Like that's what I really like. So, just from a feeling standpoint, I really enjoyed that too. So, he may not be talking about that, and the fact that he sees the snow melting before his eyes could be a metaphor for something else, but I take it literally and I really like it. And I will pass it to Dave.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the poppiest song on the album for sure. I think you can kind of tell with the intro right from the get go, and then I feel like when it changes over into that riff, that's like the riff that's the melody of the chorus. It almost feels like I know it sounds weird to say it, like almost like a surf rock kind of like a riff, or like a sound as they're just like hitting the notes of that melody there. And then it, very quickly shifts back into that the verse that I feel like the note that I had on it that I don't think I ever would have said this until having just gone back and listened to it for this is that the bass seems really like loud or maybe like more forward in the mix in the verses of this song than I ever remembered it being. And it just seems like it's like really there, just like really chugging. And then it's not as noticeable, I don't think, in the rest of the song, except for just in the verses for whatever reason. And maybe it's just the balance of there's less guitar and that's the bass is kind of carrying it at that part. But yeah, I really like that. And yeah, the chorus, I mean, it's the catchiest thing. Probably, I mean, I'd have to like really think about every album that they have, but maybe one of the catchiest choruses in any I Am the Avalanche album. And with that being said, I trying to remember if I've really ever seen them play this live. The times that I've seen them, I don't know if it was one that they had in the set list a lot from memory. But Steve, Kelly, you may have more familiarity with that.
I don't know if I've ever seen this live. I What I remember most about this song is like I get into this band. You ever have like cyclical? Like I probably listen to like certain albums like North Star. Like I will deep dive into them, maybe once a year. This band I feel like several times a year. And one of the last times I was out drinking and coming home pretty late, pretty drunk. And I was listening to this album and I remember listening to this song as I was walking through Penn Station to like try to get to my train. And it's a great tempo to like walk to. It just feels very like I'm bopping my head. It's extra singable. It just kind of like gives you life. And I I highly recommend listening to this song when you are close to blackout drunk. It's a delight. They take the bridge and they like bring it way down, and then it's almost like a slingshot that just explodes into that solo. And it's great, guys. I really would recommend drinking a lot to this album. I think that it's for that. You should definitely do that.
I feel like we should have like a high school never ends gathering, and like that will be the point of the gathering, that we drink to this album. But it might not. We might have to listen to it out of order, right? Because you said we need to listen to this one like right before we're blacked out.
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't go on as like the first song at the party.
Got it.
I feel like potentially
the
the next song might need to be the song that goes on at the beginning of the party. Not to jump too far ahead of
I
ourselves
think
here.
it can be said that. Okay, so just want to make sure. All right, I think it can be said that over the span of our lives, like we've had instances where we've listened to music and songs and some of them maybe went in one ear, not the other, or we listened to something and said it was okay. But when we listened to it while drinking heavily, it it got another dimension to it. Like it became more important, or we developed a connection with it that we didn't have before, whether it be at a live concert or at a party or another situation. Like for some reason, and maybe it's just me, I see you guys shaking your heads, but and I don't know how normal this is, but when I was in those scenarios and I would listen to something, it became so much more memorable. And those songs or those albums became ingrained in my memory and in my life. And I never let that go. And I would always enjoy that song no matter what, sometimes more so than even before. So is that a normal thing? People do that? Does that happen to more people than just me?
Yes.
I think
I
so.
think so.
Okay. I just think it's such a cool phenomenon, though. Like the fact that you could have heard a song a dozen times and thought nothing of it, and then you hear it while drinking, and you're like, "Oh my God, this sounds so good," and you just feel a different way. That's so cool to me. I don't know,
I think
something.
I think the live aspect definitely impacts that. I just even think going to shows back, in like my teenage years when it was like, me and a whole group of buddies would go. And just I think the way that a song would sound when you're in the crowd with all of your friends up in the front screaming versus how it sounds on the album, or even nowadays listening to music from back in the day or current music, like, even as much as I love to still, get up in the front during concerts, it's not like it was back when I was, 16, 17.
It hurts a
Uh,
lot more.
oh yeah, you feel it. You feel it a lot the next day for sure. But I think being in another state of mind too, Chris, I think that for a lot of songs, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, can change, I think, your relationship with the song for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
This is a perfect transition into this one's on me.
Yep. So go for it.
We'll throw it to Dave first. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think when Steve Kelly, when you're talking about the drinking and the party song with "This Really Happening," it's like, man, I think this next song is that song. Opens up excessive drinking is well in order this evening. Just kind of doesn't beat around the bush at all. It's this is that like get all the buddies together, let's all go out and have a good time, kind of a song. Yeah, and I think it's a good one to listen to and think about. For me, it kind of brings back memories of that. I don't know. I guess like college, getting out of college, going into the real world, kind of an age, early mid 20s age when people are growing up, and you still have that youthful, I guess, sense to still go out and have a good time, go out and party harder than you should, and maybe not as frequently as you did back when you were younger. Brings back that nostalgic sense of having a good time.
Dave, you got to throw it to somebody. That's how we're playing this.
What do you think about that, Steve Kelly?
Dude, I think 1,000%. This is a classic I Am the Avalanche song. I feel like if you, Dave, 177, kind of similar vein. Like we're talking classic songs about drinking with your friends, and I Am the Avalanche have a bunch of them, and they kind of become.
I was just gonna say, it almost has like an insider feel to it, of like we're letting you in on, like, not say like letting you in on like what this crowd is.
Yeah, and it's you've seen them a couple times. This is definitely a staple of the live set, and I think this is like Steve, Chris. If you guys go see I Am the Avalanche, like this is a good one to know. This is kind of what they're about, friends, family, drinking, having a good time with your buddies. Like this is the ethos of the band distilled into a song. And Chris, what do you think about that?
Oh my God, I'm so glad. I wish I had this song for the last 20 years, like 20 years, no, 15 years. Man, I could have used this track. Like I would have played this at so many different parties. Like it's crazy. This is the perfect song for having a good time, drinking, hanging out, playing beer pong, all the things that you do. Like this is, and it's so easy to sing to. Like you could sing all the words, and it just would. It would be the one that people would be waiting for, or one of the ones. Obviously, Piano Man's another one that everybody waits for, but I tend to play that at the beginning of the party just to make everybody upset.
That would make me upset.
Yep.
Yeah. But come on, Billy Joel. Anyway, so yeah, I think this is just it's an awesome track. Maybe listen, maybe it's not the most like musically, blow for blow if you compare it against some of the other tracks on this album. Maybe, there's better songs, and there probably is. But I think for my money, like you can't get better in terms of like a get together song than something like this. So love this one. And, Wingman, take us home on this one's on me.
Well, I mean, in terms of like a drinking song, like I don't know that we're beating Real Big Fish's beer here, but if we're that is definitely apples and oranges. But this song definitely sounds like an English punk band. It's heavy on the bass. The verses are not really melodic at all. They're kind of just rambling storytelling. Enjoy the chorus. There is a crazy I scream there. Well, like towards the end. Listen, drinking songs are always going to be fun. So is it my favorite drinking song? Probably not. But am I going to enjoy this whether I'm drinking or not drinking? Yes, I will. And I've actually found a new hack here now that the cannabis is legal in a lot of states, including the one that I live in. I found that someone needs to make a drinking song. Listen, I would highly recommend this experience. Go to a show, drink 2 beers, and take a very, very low 5 milligram gummy. And I swear to God, the rest of the show will be like 45 to 60 minutes later. The rest of the show will be like a cathartic experience for you. I'm like crying my eyes out to fucking I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare when I'm seeing Simple Plan, because I had a couple of beers and I had a very, very low. I can't handle anything big. But a little 5 milligram gummy along with a couple of beers. And dude, I am so into that music. So I don't recommend people doing things they're not comfortable with. But if those are things you're comfortable with, that is a hell of a way to enjoy a show. I tend to do that when I go to shows about an hour before the band I'm really excited about. Take a little 5 milligram guy, and it's a cathartic experience. It's not too crazy, but it does enhance it.
Steve, I get to see Vinny, like, he plays solo shows at breweries down the street sometimes. Like, I've seen him a lot in New Jersey.
He plays at Crossroads, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They have, like, for probably the last 2 years, every time I've seen them, he has implored the audience to do mushrooms.
Oh, I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I can't say one way or the other. I had one experience with mushrooms a long, long time ago. It was not good, so I do not endorse it.
Well, what's more cathartic is a box of PBRs and a handful of gummies.
Listen, just party responsibly. That's what we'll say. But that, as long as I'm not driving, I have a couple of beers, little 5 milligram, little tiny little gummy, and I'm like crying my eyes out to like fucking 303. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good.
High School Never Ends told me to go do all this stuff.
I didn't say what kind. I mean, we could be talking about Sour Patch Kids. I didn't say.
There you go.
Definitely the box of PBRs. I mean, definitely the PBRs.
Yes.
Even though, like,
only in places where it's legal, of course.
PBR is fine, right? You could do whatever you want. Coors, Miller,
wherever
East.
PBR is legal.
I think PBR is legal across the U.S. The gummies, maybe not so. But
if someone's listening in Arkansas somewhere, they might not even have access to legal PBR. So this might be more taboo than we even expected.
You could be right.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Dead Friends, Chris.
Here
We're talking about Dead Friends.
Hell of a transition, Mr. Kelly.
I don't want this transition, so go ahead, Steve. You can take this.
I do want to take this one. Okay, so this one is intro. pure shards of glass in his voice. Like, it sounds like he's definitely shredding something. Seems unhealthy. Huge drums. Love the skate punk beat for the verses. Kind of like nice and coincidental that he calls out no effects in one of the verses. I think that rules. I don't understand why this isn't one of the most listened to songs on the album, in my opinion. I was looking at like streams on Spotify and was just shocked that of all the tracks on the album, this one is on the lower end, and that surprised me. Did it surprise any of you, Wingman Steve?
So I don't have it right in front of me. I may have it in a half second, but was it significantly lower? I felt like they were all like, yeah. So if you kind of look at it, like a
200.
lot of, yeah. So Holy Fuck has 2.5 million plays. Brooklyn Dodgers has a little shy of 1 million. And then like most of the album is like in the 200 to 300, maybe 350 range. And so this one is 237. So yeah, it's probably like a third lowest. Does that surprise me? I guess was your question. A little bit. I mean, it's got a fantastic chorus. It really does. The first verse is slow. So I don't know, maybe I don't know if the streams count full songs or just started listening. Like with podcasts, there's two different metrics. There's like you hit the play button or you listened for a certain amount of time, and that counts as more of a listen. I don't know how that works with songs, but the first verse is slow. It definitely picks up at the second. I mentioned there's a really good chorus here. There is kind of like, so you got to kind of enjoy like a hardcore like headbang guitar section in order for you to be like, this song is a really good song that I like. You gotta like that because it has that, and I think it's the only one on the album. I think it's the only one on the album that really has that. I just think there's a lot going on in this one. There really is. It's not a negative. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on. So maybe it doesn't hook people in as one of the favorites, and that's why it's a little bit lower. Chris?
I think it's a little bit lower because it's more of it's a tougher song from a conceptual standpoint. Like he's obviously talking about things that are a little bit more somber. Not that again, there's other bands that have songs about death and serious scenarios in life that people do want to listen to, but potentially people are more apt to listening to songs about drinking and debauchery versus somebody, dying. So that said, like I think that this song is really well constructed. I think that the comment you made, Wingman Steve, about a lot of things going on, I think that that's okay in this one because they do a really good job weaving that together into a really just interesting experience of highs and lows. You get the really, somber, slow start, and then it picks up quick. So we talk about like an emotional roller coaster. Like this definitely takes you on one. The tempo shifts, I think, keep the song moving forward in a way that, just I don't know. It adds to that emotional feeling that it's supposed to give you based on what he's singing about. So I think despite the fact that it's a sad song in a lot of ways, or it's meant to be, it's musically, I think it's phenomenal. And it may not be correct, and I did see this somewhere, but did Anthony Ranieri help arrange this one, I believe, from Bayside, if I'm not mistaken? Which, if he did, obviously I'm a big fan.
I think that's one a little later on. I mean, at least he's featured on one later on.
Features on a different song.
But he may have helped arrange it.
Oh, possibly. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, he's definitely in one later, but this one, I think he had something to do with it. So I could definitely tell if that's the case.
Let me before we throw it over to Dave, I'll throw this question at Dave based on what we've discussed and the fact that this one doesn't get a whole lot of love. Newfound Glory had a song that was "Tell All My Friends I'm Dead," right? but they called it Forget My Name. Do you think that people might have taken to this song a little bit more if it wasn't called Dead Friends and maybe they called it Katie?
I think that had something to do with it. I think also what we talked about before, the how the tracking impacted and did such a good nod for Brooklyn Dodgers being number two on this. I think being as late on the album as this, and even kind of just like almost there, just like right in the middle, maybe it gets kind of lost in the shuffle in a way. But no, I think the title I think is a little bit. I mean, it's very dark, obviously, and I don't know if it necessarily makes it one that you would, as you're pulling it up on streaming, one that you would just like, oh, let me pull that one up. Let me like specifically go to that song because you don't want your.
Let me play Dead Friends.
Yeah,
Guys, you got to hear the song.
Started.
I do what I do love about where it tracks on the album though specifically is I've always loved the transition coming out of this rounds on me or this one's on me into this song is the hard stop from that song and then that like real like kind of just like intense, not quite a cappella but like slightly a cappella with the like just the singular guitar or whatever. It's just such a great transition of like just a stark contrast, but I didn't appreciate it fully until I got the record, and when it's like you flip the record over, and this is the first song on side B, and I think it makes it even more like impactful with like that intro and like how the tone of the album kind of changes a little bit, gets a little bit maybe
Vinyl Insight. I like it.
maybe darker, I would say in a way.
As an intro for side B, I love it. Like, I think that's a hell of a way to think about this.
Can one get this one on vinyl pretty easily if one wanted to?
I had to buy it on like Discogs. I was looking up like I Am the Avalanche like through my Gmail. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. During the pandemic, I think I paid out the ass for this.
Looking back, I don't know when I got it, but I don't think I had to like jump through hoops to get it. I think I just maybe ordered it on like the I Surrender site. I don't know if it was maybe like a second pressing. I'll have to go back and look, figure out when I got it or like go on and see which color I have and when it would have come out.
I slept on it and I did not buy it when it originally came out, and that was a mistake.
I'll find it.
If you go on Discogs, which I guess is kind of a marketplace, it is available from approximately $17. So I think you can find it if you want it. Sorry. Oh, that ships from Japan, so it's like, $31 shipped.
Best Vinyl has it $21.99. Best Vinyl.
I don't know how to shop vinyl. I just did a quick search and clicked the first thing.
That's what I did. It's on here a lot. Yeah, Discogs, I see it. It's all over the place.
All right, who's got the most spiders in their house? They get to start the song.
I'll just start it. I don't have the most spiders. I don't know if you guys have any spiders. I prefer them not in my house though. I saw a big spider the other day. I just don't want them in the house. I mean, why would you want them in your house?
Because they kill other bugs that are bad.
Okay, but they are a bug. You're arachnid or whatever it is. I mean, I just, can't that stuff stay outside, baby? I just sprayed a spider web with a hose over the weekend because it was in the way.
How did that make you feel?
I don't know. It's like you're kind of destroying something. It was a really nice spider web, but it was time to go away because
destroying something beautiful. You should write a song about it.
I'm trying to open a pool, and you can't have spider webs everywhere. People don't like that. But then a big, huge black one came out from underneath when I did it. I feel like I made that one mad. So I don't know where it went either. I don't know.
And then you left it alone with your family while you travel.
So, listen, I don't musically here. I thought this was a good one musically. I think the narrative really drives all the attention though. So I think the attention is taken away from the music and more on what he's talking about. This one has a little bit less edge, more storytelling. Look, it's a decent track. I just don't have much to say musically that stuck out to me. I just don't know who he's talking to, or what I don't know who the subject matter is here. So kind of confused in a good way. Nothing bad to say. I just don't have much to say on this one. So I'll hand it over to Steve Kelly to explain it to me better.
Oh, okay. I don't know that I know what the song is about, aside from reading the Wikipedia entry that said it's about like hanger-ons, and maybe that's what the metaphor for spiders is. I remember hearing this. This was one of like the OG demos that came out, and to me, I think this one sounds like it could be like a first album track, like their self-titled album. It's really straightforward from like a songwriting structure standpoint. Chris, I feel kind of similarly about this. It's like good song. I probably wouldn't skip over this one, but it's not. Man, I keep giving it away. It's not one of my favorite on the album. Dave, how about you?
Yeah, it's up there for me. We'll find out if it's one of my favorites on the album, but I love the song. I love the pace of it. I love that it's just intense, pretty much nonstop from start to finish, and then it just has those like hard pauses in there that kind of catch you off guard a little bit. Um, and then the ending, I feel like is just like probably like the most intense part on the whole album, maybe. Um, and then it's just like comes out of it like it gets like the biggest build up, like crescendo, and then it's just like the like really light, like gentle ending to it. I love that contrast there at the end as well. But no, overall I think it's I don't I don't know because of the tempo if it would fit on the first album as much. I feel like I don't really have any like real fast tempo songs. um
Yo, speaking of which, did you hear that they're going to like? He's often said like, "Hey, I'm really not happy with the tempos on the first album. Like, it's
yes,
all too slow." I think they're going to re-record the first album.
I've heard that. I've seen them mention that before when it finally did get pressed on the vinyl, and I specifically didn't order the drive-through version because it seemed like I feel like I've seen a couple bands that have made not major announcements, but like slight comments about like, oh yeah, they're releasing all these albums now, maybe as a cash grab and maybe not for the benefit of the artist, kind of a thing. I don't
Drive-through
think
records.
I'm not saying that that's what Vinny said, but I think what you said though, Steve Kelly, is that they've alluded to the fact that I think they want to re-record it. And in that interview I mentioned before, he talked about the transition from self-titled to Avalanche United, and the band's sound, and even the sound of the first album has changed. When you go see them live, it doesn't sound like it sounds on the album because everything from that first album is performed live a lot faster. So I would be potentially first in line to buy the re-recorded version of that because I love the self-titled album, and I love the way that they play it live. I think because I think it does sound more like Avalanche United.
All right, I think I'm last in line here for the Spiders. This sounds like an angry song to me, and listen, I'm here for it. I think this song slaps. It's got enough of the catchiness to really make me enjoy it, and I straight up love how he delivers the line "You've got spiders" so nonchalant. It's not even sung; it's basically spoken, and I think that that's really cool. And I'm not gonna say anything about what I think this song is about, but keep in mind, it's been highly, publicized that Finney wrote a lot of these songs after he went through a divorce. So, he's an angry dude and he's got things to say. So whether or not, his ex-wife has the cavernous eyes and he's pulverizing those lies and they're wrapped up in a tornado, I can't say that, but like I could make some sort of a connection in my listening. So I really enjoyed this one, and I loved the nonchalant "We've got spiders." So
What do cavernous eyes look like?
cavernous. I guess that's it's wide, it's deep, but it's empty. Would that be a way to
Dark.
describe? Dark, yes, cavernous.
Dark, sunken in.
Like this.
Those are pretty cavernous.
Yeah, dude.
Those are pretty bulging.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing too much eye white in order to say those are cavernous.
I can't affect my eye white. There's nothing I can do about it.
You can work on that, just like the screaming thing. All right, so we got the Gravediggers argument coming up next. This is the one that features Anthony Ranieri. Chris, you want to start off on this one?
This is the one.
Okay,
This is it.
this is
right
the
here.
way.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the song you need to listen to. If you get this, and I just bought this album on vinyl, by the way, while we're here. So it's purchased.
Wow.
It's on the way.
Nice job.
I got it for $21.
We were
They're
so
better
From Japan.
we were so enthralling with our chatter that you were buying things on your phone separately.
Listen, it's a thing. We do it, and Steve, you know that you are my
Hero.
you've been my inspiration in getting into the vinyl stuff. So I appreciate you and thank you for all the advice.
Oh,
you've
you were
given me
talking to
on
the
this.
other Steve. Okay, sorry. I was gonna take the
Yeah.
I was gonna take the credit.
Well, you as well. We'll give you a little bit of credit too.
Thank you.
This is just such this song rules. Here my notes are Bayside exclamation point. This song rules. There is first of all the title of it, the Gravediggers Argument. That's just amazing right there. I mean, take your pick. I mean, the Love It guitar. It's a shorter song. It has impact to it. Just such a great tempo and driving guitar melody to it. It has a harder edge. Love the melody, like everything in it. You got Anthony Ranieri. He's just like the cherry on top. This is such a great track, guys. If you feel otherwise, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear about it because I don't know if I could see it if you said that, but I'll pass it to Dave. What do you think about the Gravediggers Argument?
Well, I love the song. I love Anthony Ranieri. I don't know if I've said it on the show before, but Bayside is my favorite band. I've seen them more times than I've seen any other band. And I guess two cool things about that part of this song is I've seen I'm the Avalanche on the same show opening for Bayside, and have seen the part where Anthony will come out and sing the part on Gravediggers, and then not to derail too much, but then he will come out and sing the part on Bayside's song Walking Wounded. They trade vocal features on each other's albums. And then another cool one was time I saw I'm the Avalanche. I think it was the year after this album came out. When they were not playing with Bayside, and I have a somewhat of a bad habit of just making myself at home at shows, and I get on stage and we'll sing with the band, predominantly when it's the guest vocal part on a song that person who guests on the album isn't there.
That's so awesome.
And I did it one time during this part, and it was surreal. And my wife was so bummed she didn't capture the video of it, because she kept telling me that he kept pointing at me and looking at the sound guy, pointing to me, and they pointing for him to turn up the mic that I was singing on it.
Nice job.
And I was just I get into this I don't know what mode or what zone I get into and do this from time to time, but that was one of the more memorable times, one of the coolest ones I would say I ever did.
That is so cool.
That's really cool.
I'll send you guys the some of the times that it's been caught on camera. I'll send you guys some of the short clips.
For sure. All right, I'll chime in here and let Steve finish it up. So Wikipedia says the song is about a gravedigger coming to terms that the only way to get rid of his wife is to bury her in the backyard. So, I guess that tracks with the vibe of this song. It's a pretty hardcore song from the onset. I like the vibe of this song, but I just didn't really get into the chorus. Like I don't need every chorus to like fucking rhyme, but I don't know. I feel like there was just something that was a little lacking that didn't. Steve's jaws on the floor. Sorry, buddy. I will say that when Anthony Ranieri comes in, his voice is so new, so unique, and sounds so awesome that it does bring this song to another level. It's not like a skip or anything like that by any means, but wasn't something that I was all that into. That's all.
So you'd skip it.
No, I'll still listen to it. It's enjoyable enough for me to listen to.
But you'd be okay if you skipped it. It wouldn't hurt you.
I mean, if I was in the car and you skipped it, would I like yell at you to go back? Actually, I'd be like, yeah, Anthony Ranieri's on that one. I should listen to it.
I wouldn't skip it.
Yeah, that's true. Steve, you can finish us up here.
Yeah, dude, I feel like this is like my wheelhouse of punk music. So like, Dave, you mentioned Bayside's one of your favorite bands. I would say like for me, the Flatliners are probably one of like my favorite bands in the past several years, and like stuff like this that hits like a skate punk like verse and then a really like stompy chorus. Like I love this song. So like similar to Dead Friends, like this is me all day long. And I love it. And what else? I mean, you said, Steve, I feel like you're not a super big fan of this, but I feel like you should reinvest in this song when you're drunk again, see what happens. And the only other thing I have written down here is like the end of the song where he screams "go" and then stop and the track cuts is it's so killer. It's a really cool little studio stunt and I like it a lot.
I think the other thing, like from this, like to what Wingman had said before about the album coming out and the timing of it, and the timing of Vinny's divorce. This is, and particularly this song. Anthony from Bayside had a really big like post-divorce album that came out earlier in 2011. So I feel like Killing Time, especially 666, were like pointed right at his ex-wife. So I think there was a parallel of divorces that led to the vocal pairing in this track. But yeah, seeing them do it live together is just, it's magical, I feel like.
I bet. I'd love to see it someday. All right. Well, hey, Wingman Steve, you didn't love the Grave Digger's argument, but did you like Casey any better?
Musically, this song, Casey's song, it sounded just a bit Green Day to me. It was simple. It was boppy. I forget, it might have been Dave who brought up Green Day, or somebody brought up Green Day earlier. This is the song that I saw it in. I like the chorus a lot. I think that this song just sounded really good, and I enjoyed it. So simple explanation there. Back to you.
I brought it up in a backdoor way, by the way. That's what you're thinking of.
A backdoor way, okay.
Well, it didn't have anything to do with anything except for it just sounded like a Green Day song would have, or title would have sounded.
Well, front door it now. What do you think?
Front door it, he said?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
You said back door, I said front door. Go ahead.
Okay. I like the term you used, Steve Kelly, with stompy. I never heard that before. Bouncy is bouncy stompy. Maybe that's better. I do like the Casey Needs a Holiday line. I think that's a great one. Just everything Wingman said, the tempo, the way that this song kind of plods along here. It's entertaining to listen to. I really think that's all outside of, again, like I'm wondering who he's talking about. Is this a referential to a fictional character, somebody that he knows? He brings up the Iron Man reference. Am I Iron Man? I'm just wondering if that's something that I'm not getting the reference to, but I imagine maybe it's a friend of his that, maybe he feels as a superhero in some way, shape, or form, or that person does. Because if it isn't and it's a pop culture reference, I'm missing it. What did you guys think about Casey? How about yeah, go ahead, Steve Kelly. You wrapped up the last song, I think. Why don't you give your opinions on Casey?
Dude, this song is okay. I don't really like the way it starts, especially coming out of the Gravediggers argument. That tends to be like a thing that bothers me about this album tracking. Is that I want more of the same. I hear Casey needs a haul, and then I immediately hit back and listen to the Gravediggers argument again. I hit a little bit of a dead end. So I don't have many notes on Casey's song aside from that. Dave, I'm kicking it over to you.
Yeah, and Chris, I don't know all of the like lyrical intricacies, unfortunately, for Casey and the Iron Man reference. Um, I don't know. I feel like this song kind of has it's to me like in a way like a weird I'd say a synopsis of the album, but it's like it kind of brings I feel like some lyrical themes in from other songs where it's like where are my friends to dig me the fuck up out of the steep rut, and it's like right after the Grave Diggers where he's talking about burying in the backyard and talks about like the doctors, and they talked about the hospital visits and the background. So yeah, I don't know if it's just like if it's subtleties like that I'm reading too much into, or if it was just like a whole thing that ties this all together. And I also kind of sometimes think is this like like this a first person song like written as himself as a character almost like is this like a is this a narrative kind of a thing. But no, I like the song. I don't know if it's the best transition on the album, Mr. Kelly. If I mean it's after Gravedigger and after that ending on Gravedigger, it's I don't know how I would have gone differently necessarily or what I would have done. But
It's a hard act to follow.
It's a tough transition. I will say that, but I do like the intro to it. I think it brings it back just to like a different level, changes the pace a little bit, maybe too abruptly, but I think it's good. I think I overall like the song because it's at the end of the album. Though I would say it might not get as much love because of that, but and it doesn't necessarily have it's not as big and it doesn't have the intensity and doesn't have like any hooky parts to it, I guess. So makes it maybe less of a standout overall. But I would say through and through, I do like it. And there's very specific parts about it that I feel like stand out to me, and not in like a really catchy way, but just like in like just little touches, I guess. Wingman.
Oh, I already went. We're back to the front door time. We're
Keep it
on
going.
The Place You Love Is Gone. So you know what, Dave? Back to you. Boom.
Whoa! Wow! Whoa!
How about that?
I was thinking. Sorry, I was thinking. Chris started that one. So I was thinking of your toss to him on that one. I love this song because I feel like there's certain penultimate, I think is the right word, album tracks where it's like you can feel that like we're coming to an ending, and there's just something about this song. And like the build up, I think the bridge a little bit has like just a little bit of a like you could tell that I think it's a great tracking for this song. I feel like you can tell the album's coming to a close, but it's not the album ender. I don't have any notes like for like to call out anything from the lyrics on this one. So maybe Chris, I don't know if you have any notes on lyrics to Place You Love Is Gone.
Yeah, just a couple things. I mean, I think the lyric of "The Place You Love Is Gone" is a great singable lyric that permeates throughout the song. So I think that was definitely an enjoyable piece to this. I really think the melody through and through in this one is a great one. It's a really great one. I think it's definitely one of the better ones on the album amongst a host of others. So outside of that, the guitar bridge, into the what I consider the peak of the song, I thought that was excellent. I thought that was probably my highlight of the song for sure. So a couple great things to highlight here with this one. And yeah, I mean, I think it's for being second to last on the track list. I think it's a very strong offering, and you don't always see that.
I think I can comment a little bit on the lyrics. I love the fact that the line in the chorus is switched, right? It goes from the place you love is gone to the place I love is gone, and then back to the place you love is gone. And these are little details in choruses that I love. And I felt like lyrically this was really strong. One of the verses, I sighed in the rain that day, waiting for my ghost to carry away the box of memories. No one should have memories like these. They'll kill you in your sleep. I don't know. For some reason, the lyrics of the song just seemed very deep to me and made me enjoy this song a whole lot. Steve?
I think that you're right. This is probably lyrically stronger than it is musically interesting. I feel like this is a pretty straightforward song. The chorus is just a lot of repeating that same line. But it's good and listenable, and I feel like I had mentioned that another song was like a meat and potatoes I Am the Avalanche song. I feel very similar about this one, where it's like, yeah, okay, it's not hurting anybody being there.
All right, well, we're almost there. Let's take this home. Dave, you started us off. Let's let you start it off to kick it off, finish it off.
Yeah, this song I feel like has gratitude. Sorry, this song like the perfect album ender. Honestly, I love the intro. Really intense, goes right into the verse. Lyrically, I feel like it's probably the most, like, probably to me, I don't know if overall lyrics in the album, but just personal wise, feels like the most like intense and direct to me. I remember when this album came out, like, to me, this was just like a song like I would always think about my dad. And it was the Father's Day of a couple years after this album came out. I actually wrote the lyrics of the chorus on his Father's Day card. And then that fall he passed away. So it's just like I never said it to him, but I got to like share it with him. And I don't know if musically he would have appreciated I'm the Avalanche, but like from like the concept of it and just like the thoughtfulness or whatever from it, got to share that a little bit with him. And now it's like one of those, like on his birthday, or like on the anniversary from passing, like I'll frequently find myself just like in my car just like screaming the song by myself, and it's just like everything just like coming out, letting it go. And then yeah, the last time that I saw them, saw them in Chicago, and they played this, and it's just like I feel like I'm just like knocked over because it's just like such a like rush of emotion because of that extra tie-in.
Take a gummy next time. It'll add.
I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine.
Extra level of emotion, and it'll be good. I don't know if it was just what I took out of it, or if I did some searching on it. So I took it kind of as a song. And listen, the great thing about a song like this is that you can equate it to different sentiments and parts of your life. I took it as kind of like a song for the fan, like Vinny is saying. Like I'm grateful, and listen, it could be a song for his father, it could be a song for anybody, but I took it as this was a song for like the fans, and I love the call and the response to the guitars present in this song, and I felt like it was just like, however you take it, it's a really sweet song that's bottled up in a fast punk song, and I think that's a pretty cool way to end an album. So that's all I got. Steve?
Man, I don't Dave, I don't want to follow you, but that was such a good story. I do think contextually, like, this is such a, remembering that this is like the band took 5 years wading through contract uh, issues with a label that kind of held them hostage, and then released an album. And when there's a 5 year gap between your records, like, who knows if you're going to have an audience to play for? Like, people may just forget about you and move on with their lives. And I think, the fact that this band has continued on from this one is a major testament to the fact that, like, people still love them. And so the band definitely has Vinny is definitely a New York Italian guy. And, friends are family. And I think that you get that vibe from this as an album closer. I think it's super appropriate. And it kind of like put the time and the place of when this album came out and all of the bullshit that happened before it. This makes so much sense as the closer.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think from from an emotional standpoint, you guys covered it. I don't really need to go into that. And Dave, thank you for sharing that story. That was really really cool. So I think from a nuts and bolts perspective, I'll just reiterate a couple things that maybe you guys said, maybe you didn't. I did feel like initially something about this song is amazing, and I think that if you kind of sum up everything that the three of you already talked about, it explains what that is, and it's not just one thing. It's a multitude of things. Part of that is the emotional aspect of this song and what it brings, what it can mean to an individual, regardless of the story or the relationship or the connection. It fits into many different scenarios. So really cool stuff there. But musically, also looking at it technically, I really enjoy the little guitar flutter at the beginning of the lines of lyrics. I thought that was a really cool creative thing that I honestly don't know if I've ever heard before. Haven't heard very very often. So that was great, and even the opening riff at the song was top notch. The energy is undeniable in this one, and the drum solo at the end was definitely a standout for me. So many good things here as a last track. I don't even really think of it as a last track. I just think of it as another great track on this album, and it just really solidified what I said at the beginning of this, and how it's tough to be able to listen to an album and really think it's amazing. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times it takes time for you to really kind of dive in and think about how you feel about an album, and then maybe you get to like it over time. Like, the fact that I connected with this one as fast as I did is a testament to what it brings to the table. So this just solidified it, and I thought it was a great way to end it.
That's the end of the album.
And that'll do it. Yeah, we did it, guys. We wrapped up the album. It did take some time, but I think a lot of great dialogue and things to say about these tracks. It was only, what, a 35-minute album, give or take a couple minutes here and there. So not necessarily a long one, but a lot to talk about with each song. So good stuff there. But now comes the more challenging part, maybe challenging for some, maybe easy for others. We're going to get into ranking it, and I will explain it briefly for those of you out there that have never listened to our show ever before. I think you probably already figured out what ranking it is. We rank things, and usually when we do an album spotlight, we rank our top three favorite in order: 3, 2, 1. No honorable mention, please. That's always part of the rules. And with that, we always start with our guests. So, Dave, this is your pick. What say you? What are your three favorites?
Number three for me was a tricky one. I'm not going to give any honorable mentions though to who it beat out or what song it beat out. But number three for me is "I'll Be Back Around." I feel like something about the simplicity of the lyrics, the shortness of the song, just like everything it needs to be in kind of a short, small burst, spoke a lot to me. So that's pretty much, I think, since the album came out, been one of my favorites. Number two for me would be Dead Friends. That one I think I've always liked, but I don't know until, like I mentioned before, about the context of it being like the first song in the second half of the album and having it so dramatically stand out to me like that. When I got it on vinyl, I think that's what really like made me stop and think about the song a lot more, and maybe stop and appreciate it more. So yeah, that one, I'd say that it grew on me, but I've definitely found more appreciation for it over the years. And then number one for me would be Gratitude.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Gratitude. The final track being the number one. I think that might be. It's not a first. I think we've gone there before. In how many episodes have we done, Steve? 500 or so, maybe 200.
337, if you want to
Somewhere in
count
the
them.
middle. Somewhere in the middle. But great stuff. Thank you, Dave. All right, Steve Kelly, you're up. 3, 2, 1. What do you got?
3, 2, 1. I got Brooklyn Dodgers in the 3 spot. I got Dead Friends in the 2 spot, Dave. So I feel, yeah, hell yeah. And then Amsterdam is my number 1. A lot of singable choruses in that list. A lot of songs that I would sing if I was drunk. I want everybody to take the theme from me away. Now, this is an album you should listen to whilst drinking.
Whilst drinking.
I mean, next time that I know you're going to be around, I'm going to bring you a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I will very much welcome that.
Top shelf. Okay. Wingman, you want me to go first?
It's up to you, man.
I'll go. You like to wrap it up. I'll go. Okay. So really easy stuff here. Actually, some of it was difficult, and I'll tell you why. Number 3 was Amsterdam. That was a given. Because could that be number 2? Sure. But it wasn't number 1, and it definitely had to be in the top 3 because I really enjoyed the melody there. All the things I already said. Number 2, this is the one that was a little bit more challenging for me because the one that I picked was very close to. I think that it could have either been this one that I picked or This One's on Me. I really like This One's on Me. I know some of you guys, maybe it was just Steve that wasn't crazy about it, but Steve Wingman Steve. I instead went with Brooklyn Dodgers. There's just some kind of charm about that song that I couldn't get around. I don't know. It just seemed like so iconic. And not just because it's Brooklyn Dodgers, just the song itself, the music, the story that it told. I just think it belonged to number 2. And then number 1, and I'm surprised you guys didn't go there, but I can't get away from the Gravediggers argument. I think this is just an amazing song. It might be a gimmicky one, but I don't care. Like I would play this song 1,000 times in a row and never get tired of it. And it's not just because Anthony Ranieri's on the song either. Like I just like this song. That's just, again, a nice little additional incentive to listening to it. But it's an all-time great track, in my opinion, by this band. And I'll pass it over to Wingman to take us home.
Well, there's 4 of us, and we are not going to have any exact same ranking it. So I think that points out that it's a good album. Dave, you had, I feel like, kind of the deep cut ranking it. You had those. Mine is going to be kind of close to Steve Kelly's. Number 3 for me is going to be Brooklyn Dodgers. The catchiness of that song was fantastic. I feel like we all talked really highly of Is This Really Happening, but it didn't make anybody else's ranking it list. But it's going to make mine at number 2. And I have to agree with the other Steve that Amsterdam is the number 1 kick-ass track on this record, the one that I want to listen to over and over again, whether I am blackout drunk or close to, or even sober. I listened to this sober many times, and Amsterdam is the one that really stood out to me as the number 1 track. So 4 different rank edits, And I think that speaks to a really good album. I think Chris and I were new to this. We really enjoyed it. Obviously, Steve and Dave, this is near and dear to their hearts. They really enjoyed it. Thank you, Dave, for recommending this. Thank you to the people out there on the social medias for choosing this one, because it gave us a chance to really get a chance to listen to it and deep dive it and spend almost 2 hours talking about it. So thanks, Dave.
Yeah, just my one closing thought or shout out is Mr. Rob Hitt from I Surrender Records and from the band Midtown. I think I don't know all the details, but I can tell that something that he did or something in his relationship with Richard and Stephanie from Drive Through was what allowed them to break from that contract and move them over to I Surrender for this record. So I don't know if there would have been, maybe there wouldn't have been any more I Am the Avalanche had he not stepped in and done that. So got to shout out Mr. Rob Hitt.
I do remember our conversation with Rob, and that he was, I think, still on good terms with
I think so.
Stephanie. So he only said good things. And shout out to Rob, alumni of High School Never Ends Pod.
Yep.
And that's really cool. Dave, Steve, anything that you want to plug, or your socials or anything like that?
No, dude, this has been super fun. Dave, it was awesome to meet with you and talk about an album together.
Yeah, I feel like we're new best friends now.
I feel that way too.
Let's start a podcast.
College never ends.
High school ended.
Do a podcast on your reactions to this podcast. So we'll talk, and then you guys talk about what you think about what we talked about.
High school never ends, never ends.
It's fantastic.
But thank you, Steve.
Love it.
Thank you, Steve Kelly, for pushing this one into the second round, because it, as Wingman said before, it won in a tight vote in the finals. So who's to say if it would have even made it there if you didn't give it your Patreon blessing? So appreciate you there. We were able to get in this space to even have this conversation.
All the benefits of being a Patreon member of High School Never Ends, folks.
Thank you. I'll let you push that at the end.
Listen, that's a big deal. I mean, it's we go back to the fact that this one did win by such a small margin. Would it have made it if that wasn't the case? I don't know. I guess we'll never know, because it did, and that's the end of it. And I'm glad it did. I'm really glad it did, and I'm glad you guys were able to get it here, because, like I said, I wish I had this album a while back. Obviously, you can listen to anything you want anytime, but you know how things go and how life is. Sometimes, you don't get around to hearing certain things, or you like to listen to certain things more often until you're forced in some way, shape, or form to listen to something, whether it's somebody putting something in front of you, or you hearing it while you're drunk off of 15 Pabst Blue Ribbons and some gummy bears, or whatever Steve's talking about.
Gummy bears, yes.
Gummy bears. But listen, I mean, so I think that because, we had such a good time with this, and I said what I said about really enjoying this album and not really having much history with it, hopefully you guys out there listening to the show here take this as a cue that if you've never listened to this album, we are your friend telling you to go check this one out. Go check it out, because it's going to be worth it. I think you'll like it a lot, and it might open up, a brand new band or a brand new album that you never had any history with, just like me. But guys, hopefully you enjoyed this episode where we covered Avalanche United by the band I Am the Avalanche. And hopefully you continue to enjoy. You pick them June. I know we do, and we have more to come. No spoilers. I'm not going to say what it is. Steve might, but I won't. Actually, he probably won't. But stay tuned. We got more cool stuff on the way. In the meantime, a lot of cool things that we have going on out there. Number one, we have our shop where you can buy fun things like I got nothing clever to say except
the
for
world's biggest coffee cup.
It's a big mug.
So, I mean, everybody loves big coffee cups. I know I do. So go check those out. It has the High School Never Ends logo, but more importantly, it's a big coffee cup. So You can find that amongst other really cool stuff at our shop. You can get there via our hub. That's www.hsnepod.com. Sorry, I screwed that up, but you guys get the idea. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Write us a written review if you want to let us know about the show, about your feelings about the show, and about You Pick 'em June.
Yeah, please support the show on social medias. We have Instagram, Twitter, or Twitter X, Twitter, whatever it is, at HSNE Pod, like High School Never Ends Pod. We also have a Discord server, which is totally free. You can go to the website, hsnepod.com. You can join that and talk to us and the members of our community. You can also support the show through Patreon at patreon.com/HSNEpod. Again, we've talked a couple times here about the fact that the Patreon members get bonus episodes every single month, and they also get some special privileges like pushing things ahead in You Pick 'em June. And speaking of You Pick 'em June, we're only halfway through the month. We have a couple more set to go. We're going to talk about some more albums that you chose. I'm not going to give it away. You'll have to wait till next week. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.